Welcome to Lesson 1 in Unit 18, The Power of Water. In this lesson, students will work to answer the question, why do people build dams on rivers? In this lesson, students are introduced to the Section 1 anchoring phenomenon. There are dams on rivers all over the United States, including the Glen Canyon Dam on the Colorado River. Students then read about 3 different dams in the United States. They look for patterns to explain the purpose of dams. Students figure out that water is a natural resource that humans can use for different purposes. Students make connections to the storyline by explaining that the Glen Canyon Dam was built to use the natural resource of the Colorado River to provide water and electricity to people, which they need to live. There are several opportunities for ELA and social studies cross-curricular connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 18 Teacher Guide. This lesson will take approximately 4 days to complete. At the beginning of the Engage portion, you'll introduce the anchoring phenomenon. There are dams on rivers all over the United States, including the Glen Canyon Dam on the Colorado River. You'll show a video to introduce the phenomenon and ask students what observations they'll make. You'll allow students to turn and talk to discuss their observations. As students are sharing their observations, provide them with the sentence stem, "Now I'm wondering about," to model how we can use observations to develop questions. Follow the steps provided in the teacher guide to create the class driving question board. See the noted opportunity to attend to equity. Students will find the anchoring phenomenon more compelling if they can connect to it personally. If you want to change the anchoring phenomenon for your context, keep the following questions in mind. Is it going to be relevant to my students' lives and/or particularly engaging to them? Is it going to motivate students to want to explain how energy transfers from place to place, how a device can be designed to transfer energy, and how we use natural resources for energy and how this impacts natural habitats? Here are some examples of driving question boards from other K-5 units. They depict the students' questions in categories, some along with a drawn model from the unit. Some driving question boards are simple lists of questions or groups of sticky notes posted on chart paper. Teachers and students can manipulate and move around questions and label categories together. You'll tell students that they're going to investigate their questions to learn more about why dams are built on rivers. You'll display a photo of the Glen Canyon Dam and ask why they think it was built there. You'll create a list of student ideas on the board. Listen for examples of why people might use water and how they use it. You'll discuss the idea of rivers as natural resources and record students' responses and leave them up to revise in the Explain section. For the Explore portion of the lesson, students will explore 3 dam packets, each with a similar structure. There are 2 copies of each dam packet. Set up 2 stations for each packet and label them as Glen Canyon Dam, Stockton Dam, and Allatoona Dam. Each packet includes 4 artifacts. Students will explore 1 dam packet, which will provide information about a specific dam. Once students have completed the table for their packet, you'll jigsaw the groups so there are groups of 3 students, where each student represents a different dam packet. Students should take turns discussing what they learned about their dam. You'll have students work collaboratively on answering the questions in the summary section of the Exploring the Purpose of Dams student journal page. In the Explain portion of the lesson, students will engage in a class discussion about their observations and learning from the activity. Use the provided questions to guide your discussion around the question, why do people build dams on rivers? The goal of this class discussion is to synthesize patterns from 3 different dams to explain what dams are used for. You'll use the discussion to create the Lesson 1 summary chart. From the discussion, students should understand that dams can have a positive impact on people. They are created to allow humans to better use water as a natural resource. This is a benefit of building dams. During the discussion, you can post and discuss the natural resource vocabulary card. For the Elaborate portion, you'll ask students questions about what they've learned about dams and why they think people built the Glen Canyon Dam on the Colorado River. For the Evaluate portion, you'll have students answer the question in the Lesson 1 Quick Check Student Journal page. To support student sense-making across the unit, orient them back to the driving question board. Ask, what did we learn about why people build dams on rivers? And what new questions do we have? By the end of this lesson, students will have made observations and asked questions about rivers and dams, and obtained and combined information about how dams use water as a natural resource to provide people with energy, drinking water, flood protection, and recreation. In Lesson 2, students figure out how a dam works to produce electricity and design and test a device that can maximize production of electricity. For more information about this unit, visit myscipartners.com.